There we go. I hope everyone heard that, saw that, the introduction there. I'm here at the OBA's Alley Oop show. It's the first episode of this live stream thing that we're going to be doing. I've got with me Christa Eniojukan. I hope I said that right, and I'll bring her in a minute. She is the head coach of the Ontario Tech Ridgebacks since 2018, and who I know well as a longtime Team Ontario coach. So let's add her to the stream, and I'll give you a little bit more background. There she is. 2 gold medals with Team Ontario as a coach, 2 silver medals, but coaching for a lot longer than that, I believe. And also who I knew well out of the Ability Center in Durham region when you were the coach of Durham Elite in the OSBA.
Yeah.
Anything I've missed? Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. Thank you for having me, first of all. But yeah, I've been doing a lot of work with OBA for a long time, for a number of years, like CP stuff before that, targeted athlete. I was an assistant coach with provincial teams, so I actually did provincial team for 7 years. But you and I's paths have crossed in a lot of different ways.
Amazing. So the way that this works is this is live streamed to Facebook and to YouTube. So anyone that's watching there can leave a comment, leave a question anytime, and I can put it on the screen, and we'll try to answer your questions as we go. But otherwise, like Christa, I've got some questions for you. I mean, first of all, we're doing this virtually. This is like pandemic content. This is classic COVID content where we're both on a live stream right now. You're wearing your Ridgeback shirt proudly right now. I know you're still trying to coach any way you can. How have you kept engaged with some of your athletes and helped them develop during this time when everything's pretty much shut down?
Yeah, definitely. Well, virtual is the way to go. We did in person when we could. Before the exam period in October and November, we were quite into it. But we do daily training online. We have partnered with ETS. So ETS, who also runs out of the Ability Center Elite Training System, does our strength and conditioning, which we are very fortunate for. We have weekly meetings. And there we do culture stuff, we do basketball stuff, game, film breakdown. And we do a lot of mental performance stuff. And we have a mental performance coach, Naomi James, and she helps us with that. And obviously that's a big focus during this COVID time.
I forgot to ask about your STEM program that you run as well. Is that still happening? Are you working on that?
Yeah, so Active Scholars, we're hoping to launch in person this summer. We'll see. Last summer, we went online, and it went really well. We had 150 kids online, dropping off STEM kits to people's houses and keeping them active and engaged as well. So, virtual has been the thing, but, we're all working through it.
Amazing. What kind of things are you doing to help kids improve, either like through leadership or when they can get on a court?
Yeah, so there's so many different stuff that we've done. We've done some book club stuff. Chop Wood, Carry Water. We did that at the beginning of the year. We do individual meetings. We have a leadership team. Actually, we've gone away from having captains, and we have a leadership team, and we meet with them on a consistent basis to help grow them and develop them. But there's a lot of skills you can still learn off court, right? To enhance your program. And we're such a young program. We don't have any vets. So we're building leaders, right from the jump, and forcing them to be in difficult situations. They don't have player mentors to look up to. So we have to make them lead themselves right away.
Amazing. Some of the players that you would have coached on Team Ontario in the past, I'm sure they taught you a lot of lessons to coach at this level, and some amazing athletes, some amazing people. Like, talk a little bit about some Team Ontario memories before we get into your BCCA role.
Yeah, well, Team Ontario is a special time, and I think the memories are so dear to my heart because of the relationships that you build. Not only the players, with the coaches, I'm still in contact with a lot of them now, but the training camps that you do, it really bonds you. And that was really, some amazing times, because you grow on and off the court together. But I think, you know, if I had to say like one takeaway or, you know, a couple of keys that I learned from that time is it really taught me how to multitask and how to use my assistant coaches. Because there was, you know, a number of girls and really talented, and how do we bring out the best in them? And do that on a consistent basis, run training camps, book buses, hotels, and, you know, run fundraisers. Like there was all those stuff that you have to do at the next level, compact in a short period of time, right? And get them to perform. So it was lots of fun, and I'm very thankful for that experience.
You never think about the stuff you don't think about. I know that.
Yeah.
You're talking about fundraising and organizing
Yeah.
buses and stuff. Let me see if I can play this video.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, they have a routine.
Oh my gosh. So that was on our way home. I believe it's on our way home from the national banquet. So in the subway in Edmonton, and you know, teams are talking trash to each other and stuff like that. And our girls were like, "Well, we're just gonna have a dance battle." And so those are like some of the amazing memories that we have.
So not only winning the medals, winning the dance battles too.
That's right. Priorities, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you probably can't pick like one year out of that or anything like that. But winning gold twice, like, do either of those stick out at the top of some of your memories, or?
Yeah, I think winning the first gold as a head coach was a big deal for me. I was under Coach Jody Graham was at the head coach, and I was the assistant, excuse me, for 2 years, and we won gold back to back. And then I was the head coach the following year, and we got a silver, and that was devastating for me. Like, Team Ontario, we want to come first every single time, right? So I really took that personally and took it as a coach loss, and wanted to make sure that we came back strong. And so the following year, we beat Quebec in the final, and you know, it just felt really good to get my first gold medal as a head coach.
You've become a leader kind of in the coaching community, I think, and like especially with your role with the BCCA, the Black Canadian Coaches Association, which is this incredible initiative. I mean, I want to have you kind of describe what it is in your words, and why it's so important in the Canadian sports landscape.
So first, before I get into that, I'm going to shout out Leanna Jose. And she and I go way back, and she actually was an assistant coach from Team Ontario days with me. So it's really amazing to see her flourish and build what she's built in such a short period of time, like 8 months, I believe, from its infancy when it started. And so it's a nonprofit, and it's seeking to connect and empower and support the Black, Indigenous, and people of color community, right? We want to make sure that they're celebrated, they're uplifted. We get allies to support, and if they don't know how, you know, come to us and we can tell you different ways to get involved and to network. And the networking piece has been huge. I've built so many relationships. Like I had relationships before, but really gotten to know people and really felt more supported through this COVID period. And as we've navigated the racial injustices together, the highs and lows, and yeah, they're really doing some great stuff. And it's not just basketball, actually. They have committees in multi-sport. They have different sport specifics. They have mental health. They have racial injustice and anti-racism. So they're doing a lot of great stuff.
Amazing. I mean, one of the things that Ontario basketball is working on is a diversity committee. It's still in its infancy. We're still figuring out exactly what that's going to look like and what its goals are. Claude Nemhard's going to be my guest next week, and he's going to talk a little bit about, you know, Claude?
Yeah, I do. From days.
He's going to talk a little bit about the goals of that committee and what we hope to accomplish. But I guess like, you're with BCCA, they're putting together some advice for either that's U Sports or CCAA or other sports organizations at the PSO level, maybe NSO level. Like, what can organizations like ours do to be successful with our equality initiatives?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And not only am I learning from BCCA, I'll actually give a shout out to the OUA because I'm on the BBI committee as well, and I'm the co-chair there. And so what we've learned is, first and foremost, there's not a lot of racialized data. So the NCAA, if you go and you research, there's tons of racialized data. And I think for your members, hearing from them and gathering some data would be very important to see what direction you want to go. And that's what the OUA is doing. And I know the BCCA is working as well to get that done. And then, there's some key pillars, and talking to your members, there was town halls and information sessions to really see what is needed. But there's different sectors. There's anti-racism training, which is essential and important, that everybody needs to have. There's hiring policies that needs to be discussed. There's racialized policies that needs to be discussed. There's financial access, ensuring that everybody has the opportunity to play and participate. And there's mental health support. Right? So there's some huge things that need to be tackled, and it's not going to be done right away. But I would say the first thing that I would do is try to hear from your members.
Yeah, I think that's going to be part of the initiative for sure. At least try to listen and understand what people are looking for. Sports is such an interesting place for this to be happening. Why do you think that sports has become such a platform for talking about race?
Yeah. Well, if you look to the NBA and the WNBA, especially the WNBA, I'll highlight the women. They've done an amazing job, and they have a platform. These are multifaceted, brilliant people, and they're more than just athletes. They're more than just basketball players, and they're letting their voices be known. These are educated young people that are doing amazing work in their communities, and now they're just speaking out on it. They want people to know that injustices are not okay, and they're advocating for themselves, and it's phenomenal.
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, you see it. It's very visible. They have a platform for sure, and they're using it well. And so I think it's not that it starts with sports, but it's a good way to amplify the message.
Absolutely. You look to them as role models, right? Like, and then when you can connect they can put a ball in a hoop, and they do this. Wow. Like, you want to hear what they're about, right?
Absolutely. If there's anyone that wants to put type a question in the comment section, we can pull it up on the screen. I mentioned that off the top, but in case anyone's joined later, just wanted to let you know how that works. Christa, you're involved as well in the BCCA as a mentor. There's a mentorship aspect to this. And I heard you were working with Kayla Alexander. I don't know in what capacity that is, or who else, or how that works. Can you elaborate on like what the mentorship side of this is?
Absolutely. So essentially, one of the things that came out of the BCCA is having representation that looks like us. Like, I had some amazing mentors growing up, and I still do to this day, but I never had a female coach, and I never had a female coach of color, that's for sure, right? So like, it's really, there's a need there. And, even just in the application process, we had a huge amount of applications. It was really hard to make decisions on who got selected. So I'm positive it will continue because the need is there. So for me and Kayla, we meet weekly, we do all sorts of things. She wants to just basically learn what if coaching is something that maybe she eventually wants to do. And so we did some online camps together. And Ontario Tech ran one in December, and she was a guest, and she was phenomenal. She led them through some post-play stuff, some video analysis online, and just working together on those types of things, and just her future goals as well. The mentorship program also provided training for us as mentors, which I thought was really great. Just in terms of, helping us navigate the situation of having a mentee. We also had, the mentees have like different workshops that they have to do. And one of them was myself and a couple other mentors were on a panel. And, that space and conversation with them was so needed. And a couple of things that came up that just stand out for me that I'll share, and one of them is directly connected to Ontario basketball, is when I spoke about coaching with young children and Ontario basketball supporting me in that. Young women don't hear stories like that. They don't hear about the coach mom, and that's a real important side that they need to hear about, right? So there's a lot of positive feedback and a lot of questions about how to navigate that space and how I do that.
Do the people that are receiving mentorship aspire to be mentors one day, or are you teaching them leadership skills? Like, what are they trying to get out of it, do you think?
Yeah, it's more leadership and assistance and direction for their coaching, right? These are young women that want to get into coaching in the future, maybe down the road, but most of them are pretty young into their coaching.
And what kind of stuff do you and Kayla talk about?
Like, she's in Belgium right now, so we talk about her playing, first of all, right? I love to hear how she's doing and how she's performing, and she's getting prepared for the Olympics. So that's definitely a big part of our conversation. And then talking about her future and her goals. And, I won't give away her secrets, but she has some stuff coming up that she'd like to do in the community. And so I'm helping her work towards that.
She's so involved in the community, and her kids' book is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We could bring her on right now, but we have to wake her up in the middle of the night.
That's right.
Amazing. The U Sports Commissioner for the CBOC. Mm-hmm. This is another title that you have in all of your busy things that you're doing. So you're friends with the referees.
I'm friends with the referees.
What do you do in that role, and how
in that capacity? Yeah. So kudos to Canada Basketball, because they recognize that there is a need to grow the game on the officiating side, right? And so they've created a committee. I represent the U Sport coaches. So if they have anything, I bring that back to the committee for discussion. But one of the big initiatives is to bridge the gap between coaches and officials and players, right? We know there's a lot of unhealthy relationships there. And how do we do a better job of that? So one of the things that we did at U Sport and the OCAA also did is CBOC presented on some officiating stuff with coaches, and that had never been done before. And I think it's important to have those conversations, because the conversations on court on the fly are not always the best place, right? So for us to have a deeper understanding of what's happening on the officiating side and the rules and the rule changes, especially, those workshops need to be had. And then one part that really is near and dear to my heart is recruitment and retention of young women and young women of color, right? They recognize that diversity needs to change within officiating. And so I'm in a working group that helps support that. And they're trying to enhance the females that are officiating and at younger ages.
Do you know about the Grab a Whistle campaign that I worked on?
Yeah, exactly. So our peoples are talking to your peoples, I believe, about that. So I think George is working on connecting with that.
It's a great initiative, right? And just trying to get new young people, diverse people interested in becoming officials. It's a great way to stay involved with the sport when you're done your playing career. Even great as like a part-time thing to do in high school. And it's not easy. It's not easy to officiate in anything. I've never done it in basketball, but I've done it in baseball before, and it's unforgiving. And so just a little better understanding between the coaches and the players and the officials. I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if we want to grow our game, we got to grow it in all aspects, right? Basketball has become super popular. So we have to have the proper officials to go along with that as well, not just the coaches.
I'm going to pull up a question here.
Sure. Oh no. Evan, you are frozen, or am I frozen? Well, I don't know if this is still live, so I'm going to answer the question just in case it is. So the question, from a community perspective, what can clubs do? It's Devin. So you guys can hear me in the chat? Okay, so I'll answer. Okay, awesome. So from a community perspective, what can clubs do to support their BIPOC coaches? So what I would say is first, get them to sign up and become members of the BCCA so that they can feel supported in how to navigate the spaces that they're in. And then if you want to go further and you are a club, I recommend that you do that. You connect as well with the BCCA about how can you support people of color, and when we talk about hiring practices and so forth, how can you go about those things, and how can you give some people opportunities? So Devin is not back. I don't know. I guess I'll say, is there any other questions in the chat until he gets back? I can answer them. I'm not too sure. So the question is, what are my biggest goals in coaching? So primarily, the biggest thing right now is to build a sustainable winning program at Ontario Tech University. And we're only in year 2 of our program, and it does take some time to build it. And the young women that we have involved are doing a great job. But we do want to build it up so that we can be as competitive as possible within the OUA. Hi, Devin.
Oh,
Devin.
did you carry that through while I was off?
I totally tried. Like, I answered a couple questions. And it's been nice.
Did you answer Vanessa's question already?
Yeah, I answered both her questions. She was keeping me going. I appreciate it. Devin, are you okay? Or do you want me to keep answering questions? All right, I'm going to keep going until Devin gets his stuff sorted out. So, Devin, are you there?
I'm here. I'm having trouble with the internet still. Can you hear me okay, though?
You're good. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is Lawrence Manolo's question a new one?
Yeah, yeah, that's a new question. What plans are in place to retain women? And I kind of spoke to that a little bit earlier about the BCCA and their initiative. So if you, the Black Canadian Coaches Association, if you want to see some of their philosophies, you can go on their website. But I did speak to that a little bit earlier. And there was another one that I spoke about, the Black Female Coaching Network, and I'm a mentor for that as well.
What are some things that you would recommend for girls that want to be involved in coaching or in leadership in their community?
Yeah, well, I think the big thing is to not wait for an invitation, to seek out and ask, and request certain opportunities. So I'll give you an example. So I was in Toronto for Teachers College, and then I moved here and I started coaching. I moved out to Durham Region in Ajax. I didn't know anybody. I knew a couple girls that I had coached regionally, actually, but I didn't know anybody with within the club system. And I knew that I could coach, and I knew I wanted to coach, so I just asked them, and I said, "Can I be the head coach of this team?" And they gave it to me for some reason. I don't know. They probably just needed coaches, but they gave me an opportunity, and I just kept using my voice and asking for things and ways to get involved. And that's kind of how I got involved in CP and how I got involved in Team Ontario. Just kept asking for different ways of how I can be involved and how I can help out.
It's amazing. Sometimes you just have to ask.
Yeah, for sure. And I would say specifically for women, sometimes we're just used to taking a backseat, I'd say, or a secondary role. And there's some amazing women that have played the game, that know the game, and they need to, step up and be leaders. And if people aren't giving them opportunities, make it known. And if one club says no, maybe try another one, right? But I definitely feel like there should be more women coaching at the grassroots level.
Amazing. Christa, we're going to end on this one last question. And I want to thank you for your time. You talked about just like people that you've talked to that put you in a good situation, and that sometimes that's all you have to do is just maybe ask a question. It's not so much about being in the right place at the right time, but putting yourself in a position where someone will take you and say, hey, like this is a great opportunity. This is what you should do. Who are some of those people for you that have been a mentor? And I know someone that you don't mention, they won't get all bent out of shape. I know you can't probably remember them all.
Because I do have a lot, right? You can't, I guess, like for me, like there's so many people to thank and who has given me opportunities to open the door. So starting with CP from its infancy, I didn't have much coaching experience. I just finished playing at York University, and Sefu Bernard and Mike McKay gave me an opportunity there. There's still two guys that I can lean on today, which I really appreciate their support. Currently, right now, I talk with my former head coach, Stu Julius, that was at Wilfrid Laurier. And he's great, and gives me some insight for guiding me on how to build a program. There was a lot of women, Jody Graham, Lou Walsh. There was a lot of women, and yes, Borg, that have inspired me along the way. Like I'm definitely missing people, but there's a lot of people that have filled up my cup.
Amazing. Thank you again for your time, for coming on the show, talking about the BCCA. Where can people go to find out more about the BCCA?
The Black Canadian Coaches Association. It's online. There's a website. They have tons of stuff on social media as well. And yeah, reach out, get on their newsletter, get involved. Any
specific initiatives that they're doing for Black History Month?
Yeah, they're posting stuff like crazy. So check them out. I don't know if they have any specific coaching panels or anything that are up right now, but I would say just get on their social media.
Amazing. Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks, Christa.
Thank you. Thanks, Devin.